Good evening. Hello. We're going to go ahead and call this City Council meeting to order. Everybody find your seat, please. Good evening. Full house tonight. Welcome to Los Alamitos City Council. This is a regular meeting, May 7th, 2012 at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Grant Mejia.
Here.
Councilmember Kusamoto.
Here.
Councilmember Stevens.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Poe.
Present.
Mayor Edgar.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Graham Mejia and stay standing for the invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Poe.
Please join me in saluting our flag, and let us not forget those from our forefathers till now who gave their full measure for the protection and preservation of our country and our freedoms, so that this flag might always stand as a symbol of our freedom. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your head. As we meet this evening, may we be ever mindful to be thankful to our residents for looking to each of us on this dais to be their voice in decisions that affect our community. Help us weigh those decisions carefully. We ask your blessing and watchful eye on the students of our community as they enter into the last month of school activities. We ask for the safety and welfare of our armed forces and their families at home and abroad. We pray in your name, amen.
Amen.
All right, next up on the agenda is presentations. I'm going to ask the City Council members to join me in the front, please. First up is going to be the presentation certificates recognition for Los Alamitos High School girls cheer team for winning the Universal Cheer Association National Championship.
Yes, you're good to go. Thank you, sir. Oh, well, maybe he can just grab them.
All righty, good evening. So tonight we got a lot of awards, and this is one of the really fun parts of being up here on the City Council. First of all, what we'd like to do is that tonight we're going to be honoring the Los Alamitos High School cheer group, and we also have some school district members. I just want to see really quickly if they're here, because I was trying to spot them earlier. Okay. You know what? Would you guys mind coming up here with us? We'd really appreciate that. So this is a board member, Diana Hill, and President Karen Russell. Yeah, just wanted to.
Well, we're always going to think of you.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do, we've got a lot of girls here to recognize, so what I'm going to ask Ken to help me do is just hand me one at a time, and then I'm going to ask the girls to come up here and join us real quick. First up, Ashton Wilson. Megan Sullivan. Caroline Mucho. Felicia Miller. Savannah McCown. Courtney Garcia. Kirsten Bramolo. Dakota Collins. Sabrina Cadwallader. Allison Brown. Brianna Blancher. Hi there, Brianna. Congratulations. You got a proud grandmother out there, don't you? Yeah. Rebecca Acuna. Congratulations, Rebecca. Okay. Next up, we have the coaches, Coach Cheryl Vong. You're very welcome. Good job. And last, advisor Jennifer Ramirez. So we're very proud of these girls and what they accomplished, and I've just wanted to ask my colleagues on the school board if you guys had any comments for this great achievement.
Well, they were at a board meeting not too long ago, and we got to congratulate them then, and I just, again, would like to congratulate you. This is a great feat and hasn't happened for a long time, and I know it takes lots and lots of hard work, so congratulations for all your hard work.
I had two sons that went to La Salle High, and I always said that the cheer team was the hardest working athletic team on campus. And I still believe that, and you guys do an awesome job. Thank you very much.
We would like to thank you guys for having us here, and these ladies do work extremely hard, and they a couple of them are missing because we have AP testing coming up. So, and not only do these ladies work hard on the mat, but also off. Last year, this group had a cumulative grade point average of 3.5, and we're like really, really proud of them. And thanks again for having us.
Don't tell football we said you're the hardest working.
Oh, sure. This group is a small group. There's 12 competitors on the mat. They competed in Orlando, Florida against 40 other teams. After their first preliminary performance, they went straight to finals. And it was an amazing accomplishment because we had a lot of obstacles, as all athletes do, and they were able to mentally and physically get through them. And definitely because we had a large senior class, 7 seniors in this group, and they really actually represented Griffins, pushed us all through, and then at the end we won. It was amazing.
So one big last hand for another thing to be proud of. I got Shelley that wants a picture for the newspaper, but yeah.
I would get up.
No, me neither. Very good.
Oh.
Very good. Okay. Everybody in the back, body, right.
I do it all the time. Like, want me to like,
All right. Everybody say, Lozel's number one. Lozel's number one. Very good. And one more, so I make sure I get somebody with their eyes closed. All right, now, I'm going to move very carefully. Don't you guys move, so that everybody behind me can come up and get a picture.
It's all about Shelley.
stack right there.
All right, guys, thanks for coming. Oh, Diana.
Okay. Let everybody clear out of here. The next presentation we have is a presentation certificate of recognition to the Musique sur la Mer Youth Symphony for its 10th anniversary. And what I'd like to do is to have volunteer Mark Suddick and musical director Marcy Suddick join us.
Did you guys plan the tie and the shirt?
Yeah, Marcy and I are working together here. Good job. Okay. So we have 2 awards up here that we're going to be handing out, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about this organization. This is a great story in Los Alamitos. We've been blessed to have Marcy and her husband, but Marcy is the director of this symphony, that youth symphony that is a partnership that started out in our youth center. Last night, Marilyn and I had the opportunity to come in and actually watching the performance, and we just wanted to thank you guys so much. Yeah, but it was just unbelievable. You know, anybody in our community that's heard about this group that started in the youth center, they ended up getting an invitation to go overseas, and then from there, it's got notoriety. It started attracting more and more kids, and Marcy's been at the head of this. Last night, when we were over at the church over there, we were able to get a recognition from Diane Feinstein. You had a recognition from Loretta Sanchez. This program has got national accolades, and it's just another sign of a great thing that's happened here in our community. So what we have up here are 2 certificates or awards. One's a commendation, one's a certificate of recognition. One, because within our youth center, it just provides another great opportunity for our youth to get involved in music. And if you heard these kids playing, it's just unbelievable. And I think Marcy, Jerry's son, was involved with the youth choir that we've got involved with. And when they came up here, they actually brought a couple of their folks last year and performed for us. So maybe in a future meeting, you can come and bless the community with all the great stuff there. A lot of us get to hear what happens over there, because at Christmas, they used to always be over at Stats. And, and you think, oh, it's just a bunch of youth folks just playing musical instruments. This is a world-class symphony. It is unbelievable. And so what I'd like to do just really quick is to present to you the certificate of recognition for your establishment for 10 years of this program in partnership with our youth center. We'd also like to give you the commendation from our city council to just recognize that the great job that you've done in shaping our youth. A lot of these kids go on to get college scholarships that are paid for because of their musical abilities, and then you have this lifetime membership. Once they get to be involved in the choir, they come back, and that these then now professional students, or what were once students, come back and actually mentor the people in the symphony. A great partnership. Thank you so much, and yeah, thank you.
Oh, it's your turn. Is that Chris's wife standing with him? Oh. Oh, they are.
Before we have them sit down, what I'd like to do, Marcy, if you wouldn't mind, is say a few words. One more message to the community is that what we went to last night was a fundraiser. And what we're all very familiar with, being involved with a lot of the not-for-profits, is that it's great to have an appreciation for what you do, but this is a calling out to the community, so we need to help step up and try to raise some money to make this program continue. So what I'd like to do, if you could, just from your perspective, give us a little bit of an idea of what's going on with your program now, where you guys are going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Would you please? The program started 10 years ago as a small group of elementary school children and has grown to be one of a world-class youth orchestra that has traveled throughout the world creating peace through that international language of music. We host families of orchestras from around the world. We go and attend and perform in the Sydney Opera House, the Musikvereinssaal in Vienna, Germany, Czech Republic, New Zealand, but in the course of this, we also raise funds for charities along when we go out into the world. This mission of peace is empowering our young musicians to realize the gift that they have is a gift that they can move forward. And the support that our community gives is crucial to our being able to follow through with our mission, as well as performing our concerts locally. We perform a total of 6 to 12 concerts annually, locally, right in our own community. And every concert costs a great deal of money between the music, the stands, the transportation, and all the costs that are involved. And we are homegrown. And we are a part of the youth center, but we don't derive any funds from the youth center program. So everything that we get is specific, has to be specifically for Musique sur la Mer. So if you're interested in participating and partnering with us, we would be very grateful, as with our students. The money that you'd be giving forth is a gift that not only goes to the student, but goes on to outreach to the community, because the music is our gift. Thank you so much.
Okay. Next certificate, Chief Matter, and I'd ask for you to join us up here. This side. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we ought to have you put me on there. Yeah, maybe we could, because I'd like to have Corporal Anderson's family come up here too.
Oh, we're going now?
Sure. I'd like to ask Corporal Chris Anderson, his wife Nichelle, and their children to join us up here. Well, let me just set the stage as to why we're here recognizing Corporal Anderson tonight. Corporal Anderson, as you know, is a veteran officer of our department. He's been with us for 14 years, and he's been really a great asset of our department ever since he started with us. A few Fridays ago, it was actually Friday the 13th of April, Chris was working patrol, and this was a day that we had some real strong rains. And he overheard on his radio, we share a radio frequency with the Cypress Police Department, and he overheard a call for help on the radio from a citizen had reported driving along Knott Avenue in Cypress, just right there at the edge of Stanton and Cypress. A citizen looked at the flood control channel, and because the rains were so heavy that day, the level was really high, and the current was just was very strong. And this person reported that she thought she saw a head bobbing in the water. Shortly after that, it was upgraded. She indeed saw a head, saw a hand raise up in the air, and could hear this person calling for help. So Chris alertly, hearing that the Cypress officers were responding to the area of Knott Avenue where this flood control channel is, Chris alertly started heading that direction as well. He got to the area of Valley View when the Cypress officer who was coordinating this response asked for an officer to go check the area off of Warland Avenue, which is the business area adjacent to Valley View. So Chris decided to take that assist call, and he got to the flood control, looked over the fence, and could indeed see this man clinging to a rock. Chris scaled the fence, ran down there, and just as he got there, this man's grip slipped from the rock, and he was able to grab onto another rock right at the time Chris was able to get to him. Chris actually went into the water himself, about thigh deep, I believe, and was able to grab onto this man, just as some citizens who saw Chris respond, they scaled the fence behind him, and they were all able to grab onto this person until the Cypress officer came. The current was so strong, Chris couldn't just get him out. It took several people. Chris was able to just hold on to him until several people were able to finally pull this man to safety. The man was transported to the hospital, and he was ultimately released from the hospital in good health, thanks to the actions of Corporal Anderson, a number of citizens, and a Cypress police officer, because this man was definitely in grave danger.
Corporal Anderson, we are just very proud of you, and we just want to welcome your family up here. It's very nice to see you guys. On behalf of the City Council and as the mayor, I just want to give you the certificate of appreciation for your hero. Let's get everybody.
Sure. Just so everyone knows, because this incident, the rescue occurred in the city of Cypress, next week at the Cypress City Council meeting, they will be recognizing Corporal Anderson as well as the citizens that were involved and the Cypress officer.
Sure.
Yes.
So you guys, we're going to take a 5-minute break while everybody clears out. We'll be resuming in about 7:35. Thank you. Good evening. We're getting back in session here. Everybody ready to go? Here we go. All right, oral communications. At this time, any individual in the audience may come forward to speak on any item within subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Remarks should be limited not more than 5 minutes per speaker. I have one speaker card, Travis Allen. You come on up.
Thanks, Troy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, my name is Travis Allen. I am a small business owner. I've lived in Orange County for almost 20 years. I'm a candidate for the 72nd Assembly District. This is the seat that's currently held by Jim Silva, but he's now termed out after 6 years of serving us very well. I want to start out a little bit about myself. I'm a business owner. I own an investment advisory firm. We specialize in managing money for people like everyone in this room. Average client's about 62 years old, so most people here are a little bit young for my average client age. And they've all been with me on average for over 10 years. We specialize in very conservative money management. So I've been in business for a long time, and I've noticed that through the years, California's taxes have begun to increase. Now they're at a very, very high level, and also our business regulations are at a very high level historically. So today in the nation, here's what we contend with. California has the second highest personal income tax. California has the second highest gas tax. California has the sixth highest business tax, and it also has the highest capital gains tax. In addition, this tax burden is not shared equally by all. So our state has 37 million people, but 144,000 of our residents pay over 50% of the tax burden. As a matter of fact, it's so bad that I was driving into work the other day and I heard a story on the radio, and they were saying, we're really glad that Facebook is going to have its IPO in California because it's going to help California with its current budget problems. And in my mind, this is just wrong. What it does is it forces the highest producing citizens to really take a good hard look at why they live in California. And indeed, many of them have. From 1992 to 2008, we have lost 869,000 residents from California. In the years these 869,000 residents left, these were what we call our premium taxpayers, which pay more than their average share of taxes. In the years that they left, they took $44 billion of tax revenue with them. That's revenue they didn't pay to our state, because they moved to Florida or Nevada or Arizona or Oregon or any of these other states. Now, it gets worse, because we didn't just lose them that year. We lost them for all successive years as well. So if you add up the cumulative effect of them being gone in the other states, that $44 billion now grows into over $500 billion that our state has not received in tax revenue. Now, I don't know about you, but $500 billion to me is quite a large number. To put this into our perspective for California, everyone knows that our state runs a deficit and we have a very large debt. The state debt currently stands at $361 billion. Now, if we had had better business and better tax policies in place, perhaps we could have kept those 869,000 residents from leaving, and perhaps we could have kept that $500 billion in tax revenue they would have brought into our state. Had we been so successful, we would not only paid off our current state debt, we'd have $139 billion sitting in a rainy day fund waiting for us. So this is why I'm going to Sacramento. Again, my name is Travis Allen. I've been in Orange County for nearly 20 years. I'm going to Sacramento to stop tax increases and reduce business regulations. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Is the district encompassed?
Okay. Great. Thank you, Travis. Any other folks like to speak? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move to register major expenditures. Can I get a motion?
To move it.
All right.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All right.
Aye.
Sorry, this is a roll call vote. So, Wendy?
Councilmember Graham Mejia.
Aye.
Councilmember Kusamoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tempo.
Aye.
Mayor Edgar.
Aye. All right. Consent calendar. All consent calendar items may be acted upon by one motion unless a council member requests separate action on a specific item. Would anybody like to pull anything off the consent calendar?
I'd like to pull item A, approval of minutes.
Alrighty. 8A, Jerry. Anybody else? Seeing none, can I get somebody to move the balance?
I will move the remainder.
All right. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jerry, item 8A, approval of minutes.
I'd just like to note for the record, Wendy, the standard. I'd like to see the council go back to more informative and more inclusive minutes because I think it's transparency for the community, but also for historical records for future councils or residents that may need to do research on why we made the decisions we made. I think there needs to be a little bit more content included. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it back to you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion to move the minutes?
I move approval.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
No.
Abstain. All right. Next up, the ordinance, Section 9, 9A, second reading of ordinance number 12-03, amendment to Los Alamitos Municipal Code relating to special meetings of the City Council. City Manager.
Good evening. This is the second reading of ordinance number 12-03 that amends the Los Alamitos Municipal Code to allow the mayor or two members of the City Council to call a special meeting. Currently, the code says that the mayor or three members of the council is required to call a special meeting.
Great. Let me bring it back to the council. Anybody have comments before I open it up to the public? All right, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the public. Anybody in the public have any comments on this item? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing portion. I'm going to bring it back to the council, and I'm going to look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve. But do we have to read this? You want me to read this?
I can do it for you.
Okay,
You
go
prefer?
ahead.
So the motion is to waive reading in full and authorize reading by title only of ordinance number 12-03, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Los Alamitos, California, amending Section 2.04.020 of the Los Alamitos Municipal Code relating to special meetings of the City Council. And this should be by roll call vote.
Okay,
And
I got
if
it first. Can I get a second on that?
Okay.
Oh, I made the motion.
You made the motion. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Jerry, did you have a question?
No, I just would like to note for the record that at the last reading, I verified with staff that there doesn't have to be any special circumstances, that this is just something that two council members can bring forward. And I just want that noted for the record.
Great, thank you. We'll note that for the record. Roll call, Wendy.
Sorry, Councilmember Graham Mejia.
Aye.
Councilmember Kusamoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tempo.
Aye.
Mayor Edgar.
Aye. All right. Next up, item 9B, second reading of ordinance number 12-02, amendment to the Los Alamitos Municipal Code to provide one city council meeting per month. City Manager.
Yes, I think you said it quite well. This is the second reading of ordinance 12-02, and provisions in this ordinance call for one council meeting per month to occur on the third Monday of each month. Also, that regular meetings would start at 6 p.m. and closed sessions would start at 5 p.m.
All right. Anybody up here on the city council have any comments before I open it up to the public hearing?
Just
Jerry?
a quick question.
Sure.
On the third bullet item, the closed session would start at 5 p.m. Many times we have the closed session after. Is there going to be a problem with the variance in that?
Not for me. Anybody up here have any issues with the early start?
I'm just saying, many times we have the closed sessions after our regular meeting. This doesn't prohibit us from doing that, does it?
No, it doesn't prohibit you from holding closed sessions in addition at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
No other.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions up here? Okay, we're going to go ahead and open it up for public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Good evening, JM.
J.M. Ivler. When this came up for discussion, I indicated that I was concerned that it would reduce transparency in the city. I did not appear for the first vote. On this vote, I know I am going to be voted down by the council, but I still believe that this is a bad idea. I do not believe this is good for the city. I do not believe it's transparent. I don't believe the savings will be realized, although I still believe it will be very beneficial for the upcoming election season for those people who are running for public office. I again ask the city to not do this because as a citizen activist, I know many times I have come before the council to get things done for my community, and that this will reduce the availability of me being able to do that. So again, I ask the council, please do not approve this. Thank you very much for your time, council members. Have an outstanding evening.
Great, thank you. Anybody else have any comments? All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to the City Council for any further comments. Anybody have anything else?
Very quickly.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I spoke with the mayor, and I just wanted to make sure that moving forward, that this is something that isn't just for the duration of the election. I hope that this is a sincere effort to really consolidate, save staff time and money, but also, give us more time with our families without losing the transparency. And that's the only thing I had to note.
Great, thank you. Marilyn?
Yes. From my standpoint, it has absolutely nothing to do with the election. And as I recall, the idea came up from Jerry in a discussion, and when we were looking at ways that we could be a little bit more frugal and save money. And I understand Mr. Eivler's concern, but our phone numbers are available to everyone in the community. I'm always, and I know everyone on this dais is always available to speak with anyone when they call. Our city manager is available. We have a website. People can email us. We have email addresses. So I do understand what he's saying, but at the same time, I think that there's plenty of opportunities with technology the way it is today for us to be in constant contact with the constituents in our community. I would hope that people in the community feel free enough to contact us at any time that they have a concern about anything. And so I think, and again, this is a 6-month trial, am I not correct? It's a 6-month trial, and maybe it's going to turn out where maybe the council members feel it's not really good, or the staff. So it's worth a try. And we are going to, it looked like we would be realizing about $20,400 per year in savings, because we do have to pay for the videotape, having this on Channel 3 twice a month. We'll only have to pay for it once, and then it's the staff time. So, having said that, I'll make a motion to move forward.
Okay.
Or did
And
we already have one?
I'll second, but can I
Yeah,
add just a
absolutely.
comment? There was a real concern that the community would not have the opportunity to address the council. And so the ordinance that just preceded this one, ordinance 12-03, that's so that just a minority of the council can call for a special meeting. It doesn't have to be the majority, which was in the prior ordinance, you had to have at least 3 of the council members or the mayor could call. What we did as a safety precaution for the minority of the council is we've put into our new ordinance the fact that only 2 council members have to call for a special meeting, and then that way the transparency will still remain. And that's all I'll say.
Great, thank you. Ken, did you have any comments?
Actually, the same thing that Jerry was going to say, and that's why we did it this way, is in your agenda item 9A, again, just repeating what she said. We put this safeguard in there that any 2 council members or the mayor could call for a special meeting. And so that's built into it. The community will have a chance to speak, and we'll be here to listen for it.
Great, thank you. Warren, did you have any comments?
No comments.
Great, thank you. So I've got a first and a second, but I guess so we need to go through the reading on that one also. So Sandy, if you'd indulge us.
Sure. The motion is to waive reading of the ordinance in full and authorize reading by title only of ordinance number 12-02, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Los Alamitos, California, amending section 2.04.010 of the Los Alamitos Municipal Code relating to regular meetings of the City Council.
Great. City Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Graham Mejia,
Aye.
Councilmember Kusamoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tempo.
Aye.
Mayor Edgar.
Aye. Excellent. Okay, next item is discussion items. Item 10A, appointment of City Council Ad Hoc Subcommittee to consider use of reserve funds to benefit the community. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At our March 5th, 2012 meeting recently, the City Council discussed the potential of using the equivalent of 1% of the utility users tax, or $358,333 from the reserve fund as a rebate back to the residents in the form of programs and or projects that could benefit the community as a whole. So the action or the recommendation before you tonight is to appoint 2 members of the council to serve as an ad hoc subcommittee to work with staff to, number 1, identify the projects and programs that will benefit the community. Number 2, to gather community input to prioritize those programs and projects. And then number 3, to work with staff to implement those to the benefit of the community.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring that back to the council. Anybody have any comments on this?
If I could.
Please, Chair.
I just want to frame this up for people who have maybe not been at the prior meetings regarding this item. The council wanted to do a 1% give back of the utilities user tax to benefit the community, but it turned out on an individual level it was a very small amount. And so we had a resident who stood up and said, why don't we use it as a whole and do, to some degree, like a wish list? So I think that was a phenomenal idea, and I'd like to thank him for that. I just would like to say, Angie, if you could announce how the there you go. The questionnaire is going to come to the people so they know to look for it if they want to be a part of how this is decided.
Well, when the subcommittee gets appointed or voted into existence, then those 2 council members will work with me and other staff to develop, like I said, the projects and programs. And then I anticipate that we will try to people in the community, either through the website or through direct mailing or through mailing of the community services guide, so that every household will have a say in prioritizing what's important to them.
Right.
And then when we'll tabulate the results and formulate that into which projects and programs are most important to the community.
Great, and thank you for explaining that, just on the chance that there are people who didn't see us discuss this the first time. Mayor, back to you, that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Stevens.
For anyone that doesn't, or maybe doesn't realize the amount of time that goes into an ad hoc subcommittee, I can tell you that you'll end up spending an additional 4 hours per week minimum by working on one of these committees. And I was fortunate to work with, I think, almost everybody up here at one time or another on an ad hoc subcommittee, and they get very detailed. And I guess the most recent one that I was on was with Councilmember Mejia, and we were with the LATV.
Yep.
Took up a great deal of time, but we came out with some great results on it too. So this is something you see other than what you see on TV, or things that we do other than what you see on television. And you know, to be honest with you, on a committee like this, we have to have people that are connected within the community, that have the time to be able to contribute to a subcommittee like this. And that's hard to do. It's hard to do because most of these meetings happen during the daytime and have to bend around other people's schedules. But after being on a subcommittee, an ad hoc committee for, was it a year and a half or 2 years?
It was at least a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seemed like 2 years. with the LATV, I was on it with Councilmember Mejia, and you know, I honestly, I would like to recommend Councilmember Mejia for one of the people on that subcommittee.
Thank you.
And again, working with Marilyn over so many different times and using the word connected within the community, and having the historical fact and being able to search out the answers that are necessary, I would love to see this ad hoc committee comprised of Councilmember Mejia and Mayor Pro Tem Poe.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Mayor, one thing that I'd like to ask, and it's not that I don't want to serve with Marilyn, I haven't had the opportunity to serve with Warren on any ad hoc committees, and I was wondering if Warren has any interest in being part of this.
Sure. Warren?
Sure, I'd be happy to serve.
Okay, so I'd like to nominate Warren also as someone to be considered. We haven't had the opportunity to work together, and I think that we are from very different sides of the spectrum, so I think we would accent each other well. So I would like to nominate Warren
To be on the committee
to
with
be
you?
on the committee.
Okay, let me get some more feedback. Warren, did you have any other comments other than your affirmation that you're interested?
Well, I think, yeah, on this one, in terms of the what we can do for the community, I think it's something that I don't believe the ad hoc committee will be a decision-making body. It'll be something that will report back to this council and then receive further direction and clarification. Am I correct in that understanding? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to understand is I think we do need a sunset on this ad hoc committee, so it doesn't just kind of go on forever. So there will be a sunset, right, an end date on this one. Okay. Want to make sure of that thing. And other than that, just back to you, Mayor.
Okay, great. Marilyn?
Yes, well, I haven't had the pleasure of working with either one of Warren or Jerry on a ad hoc committee, and I'm very interested in being on this committee because I think I have a lot to offer with, as was said, the longevity I've had here, and I do know a lot about, I mean, I'm in contact with people in the community a lot, so I would like to be considered.
Okay, great. So my comments on this, a couple things to think about is that a little bit what's interesting about this story is that this came from the discussion, as Jerry had talked about, for the telephone or the utility users tax, and for educating the community is that the utility users tax is one of our top 3 sources of revenue within our city. And this city council, in our budget sessions, which we had starting at 5 o'clock this evening, went through and basically gave a preliminary head nod that we are all interested in spending this $358,000 and basically utilizing money that was in our reserves to be able to do this. But if you go back even further, there's something to me that's really important here, is the utility users tax, which made this possible. There's a subcomponent of that called telephone users tax, and within the telephone users tax, that is the tax that that all of you young guys out and gals out in the audience, your parents pay when they pay your cell phone bill, and their home phone bill if they have a home phone still. And but the challenge is that the utility users tax is a flat amount on your phone bill. But what ends up happening is there has been a significant modernization. So back in the old days, the long distance and all that is out there and local. Now you got data, you got voice over IP. And the only reason I'm talking about this is a significant amount of money that this council wants to reinvest in the community. I think that the fact that they're doing, what we're talking about tonight is to create a subcommittee, and as Warren said, that's going to bring a recommendation back to the council. We've also got another group that's out there working on the general plan, which just to connect dots with the community. So the general plan is out there working to come up with a design for the city for the next 20 years. And that group has been meeting with commissions. Our city council appoints commissions, our people to these commissions, some 5, some 7 people per commission. These commissioners are also contributing to not only helping on the general plan, but they're very involved in trying to find out what would be best for the community for this too. So another stakeholder group. So I think what's really important is that an ad hoc committee is formed, that we have that group take a first stab at what the priorities are. If you think about it, as the elected, we've all ran on platforms when we wanted to get into office. So we all have made commitments to the community for what we told the people we would do. So it makes sense that the ad hoc committee would take a stab at it. They bring it back to the council, and we would take those recommendations probably to this joint commission group and to the community through surveys to be able to get that done. One point that I just want to make sure, though, that gets across is that this utility users tax problem, the modernization of the utility users tax, hasn't went away. It's still a problem. This issue is a good deal, and we're all going to be happy investing this money in the community, but we have a problem with this structure of this tax that's charged onto phone bills. And the issue is that it potentially is getting litigated. It isn't potentially. It is being litigated at a state level right now. And if the findings at the state level become a problem, we could lose this source of revenue for good. So something that I would ask is that I don't know if it's appropriate in the ad hoc committee, and I'll ask the city attorney for guidance. I'll talk, clearly, no matter which way this ad hoc goes, I think Jerry's going to be one of the members. So, Jerry, I would just kind of look to you. But I think that something we need to start talking about is what is going to be done with this utility users tax. Is this an item we could package in the ad hoc? Is this something that has to be taken on separately? I'd like to be able to take advantage of this. And everybody's going, well, Troy, why are you worried about that in the context of this? Because the utility users tax fix has to go to the ballot. It has to be voted on by the people to be modernized. And so the good news is we have a significant amount of money coming from utility user tax funded reserve. The bad news is we need to modernize. And so, city attorney, help me. I don't want to miss the opportunity here on this item, but I want to know if there's a nexus or a combination that we can utilize this ad hoc to at least be thinking about this in the context of where that money came from and how are we going to address that?
Sure. I would just say that perhaps in the recommendation, if you're going to go with the staff recommendation, in item 2 where it says gather community input to prioritize the projects and programs, you add something that says and discuss the future of the UUT or something like that, so that you build into there gathering some input and having some discussions about the future of the UUT if you want to do that. And it's true, you have a very, very old utility users tax ordinance. So the city had the foresight to adopt an ordinance, but the model is old and it predates all of the modern communications technologies that we all use. So it's kind of an awkward fit, and it would really benefit the city in terms of making that revenue source dependable to modernize the ordinance, but it requires voter approval.
Sure. Point of order. So are we talking utility user tax or telephone users tax? What are we talking about?
The TAT is a subcomponent of utility users tax.
Okay.
There's 2 or 3. Go ahead.
And it's up to you what you want to task the committee with, whether it's just to talk about the TUT, the telephone users tax portion, or you want them to talk about the entire UUT. That's up to you, either way.
My preference, since I brought it up, and then everybody can jump in and fix it if I've screwed up, but I'm very focused on the TUT very specifically. I just want a narrow scope. That could potentially have collateral damage all the way through, Warren. And to be honest, if we're going to address it and litigation is out there and we don't have a plan, we have a very short time period if we want to try and do anything, that we got to make some decisions before a ballot measure would be able to be put on place for the November ballot. Marilyn?
My question would be, are we kind of hog-tying our hands by just doing the telephone utility tax? If we did the entire thing, that's under that umbrella, so then we would have the leeway. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking.
Yeah.
I don't want us to get into something where we later say, oh, if we had done the whole thing, it would have encompassed everything. And
yeah, let me ask the experts on this. So, city attorney, from the litigation perspective that we were more concerned about.
Because there haven't been the same kinds of significant changes in technology in terms of your gas utility and your electric utility, we don't see the litigation in those areas or the challenges as to older ordinances. So I'm not aware of any significant threat. There probably are utilities that you could be taxing that you're not taxing, but the fundamental components are normally electric, gas, and then communications. When you go to a modern ordinance, typically the language changes from telephone users tax to communications users tax to encompass all those kinds of technologies.
But if we were to, say for instance, decide that the best thing to do would be to lower it from 6 to 5.5, we would be talking about the entire, correct? Or,
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm concerned.
That's all
about-
up for discussion.
Right.
That's not something you need to decide tonight. This is just kind of an outreach component of the discussion that will follow.
Yeah, and just to stay consistent, we came across this potential opportunity when talking about the potential exposures.
Right.
And then we also have gotten a lot of feedback that a lot of our residents think that the utility users tax should have been addressed and potentially look for opportunities to lower it. And believe me, I'm there with that. I couldn't be happier with that idea in total, but I think that may be too big to take on. The utility user tax piece, very specifically, is a piece that that I think that we need to be focused on, at least to get through. And but if the ad hoc committee could kind of take a look at this, again, it is the funding source for the revenue or the reserve here. So I'm trying to make that connection so we don't get too far out, or because like I said, if it's too big, we won't be able to address it between now and the election.
And Mayor, if I may, not only that, but we're looking to get the list, get the survey completed so we can get these projects done. And the last thing that I'll say is part of why I thought Warren would be a good partner if I was lucky enough to be named is because we both served on general plan, and that goes right along with the commissions. So we would bring that to the table. In addition to that, Marilyn and I are both kind of community people, so we're interchangeable. But I do think it's important, whether it's Marilyn or myself, that Warren, with his business and financial background, if we're going to be addressing the UUT, that he be one of the two for this ad hoc committee.
Okay. So I think, at this point, what we need to do is decide. I think the one last comment that I had, Jerry, like I said, I think that you're probably going to be on either way. There is a commission meeting coming up on Wednesday, and I would just, I guess I would personally ask you if you wouldn't mind, and whoever you serve with, if you can kind of have the same discussion we're having here from the council, just to kind of keep people informed on both issues. This item, it's coming their way, and the UUT, the concern on the council's part, I'd be appreciative of that.
Right, and well, again, I think Warren, and this is no disrespect to Marilyn, because we both have grown up here and have bring the same thing to the table. He has the benefit of being able to present that, the approach from that aspect, Troy, that you just brought up with regards to the UUT.
Okay. Any other comments?
I do have one other comment. In terms of the potential for conflict of interest on any of these things that the ad hoc committee might be doing, I think we have to be kind of mindful of those type of issues that may come up. So I would kind of offer that as something to consider in picking the candidates and who would have the least amount of conflicts, and then how do we deal with that when it does come up. So that's the thing that we'll have to be mindful of.
Okay.
Back to you, Mayor.
All right. Okay. So at this point, I guess I'm going to entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion, and I appreciate the recommendation, Ken, for myself and Warren to serve on the ad hoc committee together for the reasons that I've stated.
Okay. So that's a motion. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Next item, mayor and council initiated business, council announcements. Start, Ken, with you.
It's always easy to ask me first because I'm right here to the left. In the last couple of weeks, I attended the grand opening or the dedication of Fire Station 17 in Cypress. And it was a long time coming, and it was a beautiful, beautiful celebration. Between our fire station, number 2, right here in Los Alamitos, and Fire Station 17, they trade forces back and forth all the time. So it's common to see a fire truck with the number 17 roll into our community, the same way it is common to see our fire trucks with the number 2 rolling into other communities around. So it's a joint forces, and if you get a chance, go over, take a look at it. It's a beautiful station over on Cerritos, and it's really, really state-of-the-art, long time coming, and replaces, I believe it was a 60-year-old original barn-type station they had, and then the one that they moved out of was built back in the 50s, and so beautiful, beautiful facility. I also wanted to bring a few people up to date on, I don't know if you saw it on the news, and it was graphic when you see 2 firefighters going up and looking into a underground vault, electrical vault up in Yorba Linda that was smoking. And you see one of the firefighters being blown back. Well, I'm happy to report that both of them are in good shape. And it's all part of being in uniform and being a firefighter. And that happened back a couple of weeks ago, but it was very dramatic footage. And everybody at the fire authority kept these firefighters in their prayers constantly. I also attended the Casa Youth Shelter event. And I know that our mayor will speak loudly on that one here in a few minutes. But it was a beautiful event. And if you ever have a chance to go to any of these little auctions and little events you see, do it. We've got more nonprofits in this city, I think, than any other city around. And to see someone like Kenny Brandeberry out there working as hard as he does. In fact, he's selling pizza tonight, I believe, isn't he?
That ended in
Last Monday.
Yeah.
Did it? Okay. Well, he'll find something else that he'll be doing, too. I also attended a fundraiser for Mayor Edgar's run for Assembly. And it was nice to see, Ed Royce was there, Rohrbacher was there. I mean, just all of these people supporting him in this endeavor that he's going to do to help out the state of California. A lot of support there for a good man. And Councilmember Mejia was there along with me and a few other people, and just wishing him the best on his campaign. And that's it. That's all I have.
Great. Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, if I can, just, Ken, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to yield to you just to see, it's been in the news, and I know you were affected by the riots, the LA riots from 20 years ago. Would you mind, if you feel comfortable sharing and recollecting some of those that happened?
Wow.
I don't know if it's something you don't want to do, I can understand, but I think it's something that we ought to be, mindful of so we don't repeat those same mistakes.
Yeah. I guess anything that I had to tell you about the riots that I've been through in Los Angeles, that was the second riot. The first riot was the Watts riots, way back. And being a young man, seeing that. Then the most recent one 20 years ago was the Rodney King riots that happened. I think if we had to learn anything as a society, it would be respect, number one, respect each other, respect what's happening in your community, don't prejudge any actions that do happen, and believe it or not, we do have a very good court and judicial system that always make things right. It's never right to destroy. It's never right to burn, and I know all of you have seen some of the footage on the news. And I think the major thing is it's never right to step on anyone else's rights as a citizen. So quite a few citizens were affected during that. Quite a few business owners were affected by it. Quite a few families were affected by it. If you're ever put into a situation where you see a crowd or a group of people getting out of control, don't be part of it. Get away from it. Leave it. And if you can, do something to stop it. But the level of the level of violence that happened back 20 years ago is pretty phenomenal. I mean, people forget what the name of our city was. Everybody calls it LA. I don't. It's Los Angeles, City of the Angels. And so it goes back to everybody respecting one another, respecting the rights of other people, and hold all of your city officials, your police forces, everybody in power to the same standard that you would like to see. I guess it goes back to you treat other people the way you would like to be treated. And any takeaways? That would be it. It's just a moral commentary for a horrible time in Los Angeles. And as far as I'm concerned, that should be the last time we should ever see anything like that, because we're smarter, we're better, we're more compassionate. And I think we've learned a great deal that by destroying something, and that doesn't create anything.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, and I guess I kind of was commuting home when the riots started breaking out. And it was rather surreal for myself. I was driving by a golf course, and there were a couple of foursomes out there golfing while the store just across the street was getting looted. So it was really a surreal experience, and I wasn't affected that much. I think Ken was affected a lot more in the area he was at. I remember him sharing that at one time. So I think it's just something we should always be mindful of. And then, let's see, the other thing I have is this month is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. It is celebrated annually. I know the city of Los Angeles puts on a fairly good-sized celebration, as well as other cities around the nation. And this was proclaimed by President Jimmy Carter back in 1978, and it just celebrates the contributions of Americans of Asian descent and the Pacific Islanders, American Pacific Islanders, and it's a celebration of the culture. The last thing I have, and this question, I think I had sent an email. I still haven't seen a response. So, City Attorney, I'd asked a question if I'm indemnified on the whole Brown Act debacle, and I still haven't seen an answer. So, I would like an answer. It's either a yes or no. Am I indemnified?
It's actually not just a yes or no. That would be. Well, the only way I can say it is there's a legal analysis of those issues. It's not clear-cut one way or the other, but indemnity couldn't happen without a decision by the City Council to indemnify.
Thank you.
So.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, great. Jerry.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to follow up on something. Councilmember Kusamoto asked, I believe a meeting or two ago, if we could get the work product from the prosecutor who was hired to for the city with regards to his, alleged Brown Act violation. And there was, I believe, $5,000 in our warrants that were spent on the research for that. So what I'd like to do is I'd ask that the council at least request that information for us to review in closed session, and then address it in open session. So that could be potentially an agenda item for the future if I could get the support of the council on that. I think putting this to rest one way or the other, the $5,000 that was spent on the prosecutor, I'm imagining for $5,000 they came up with some kind of decision, and I'd like to see that as a council member. Also, I'd like everyone to remember to donate life. And Angie, when we did the new website, did we include the Donate Life website so that people could access that? We had talked about it when the speaker came, and I think we said we were going to do that. Have we done that?
I'm not sure.
Okay, is that something that the council would be opposed to doing? I mean, many times when we have speakers come forward, we include the websites, especially for something like Donate Life, which is just on your driver's license, you put the little dot, and what happens is many lives can be changed forever due to this program. And I just would encourage you, if you don't have any religious views that are opposing to that, you entertain the thought. And if we could have that on the website, if there's not any opposition from the council, I would love to see that. Also, I want to congratulate Los Alamitos High School track team. Several of the kids went to Sunset League finals, and did very well. We have some kids that are going to the CIF prelims, which will be coming up this weekend. And I'm sure that they would love to have community support. I would imagine that on the school website, there would be a location and a time for those of you who might be interested in attending to support those kids. It's not a great deal of the track team. I mean, this is really getting down to the best of the best. So if you're interested in that, and you can't get that information, give us a call at the city and I'll see if I can get it for you. In our weekly, we have a notation for the November 6th election, and it says that if we want to have any ballot measures put on, that they need to be addressed by July 27th. I'd like to, if we could have agendized, I would love to be able to support the rehabilitation of LaSalle Boulevard. I would love to be able to do that. I would like to see this as a ballot measure. We're very clear about the amount of money that we would be spending. Obviously, there'd be matching money from grants, and what the proposed project, in a real short summary, would be doing for the community. So I'd like to ask that we maybe agendize that so we can talk freely about it. I would love if we can get the community support. I'm supporting it 100%. There's been some issues regarding traffic potentially with the high school coming and going. So if we could entertain that, I would love to have that be an agenda item. Also, I wanted to say congratulations. We have 2 young men who graduated from Los Alamitos High School who started a business, the Tank Farm, and they're getting county-wide recognition. And I just wanted to say to them, thank you for bringing the business here home, but also congratulations on all your success. Todd, I didn't really talk to you about this. I apologize. We had Partners in Preparedness meeting. Could you give just a brief summary for that? Or is that coming up? Did I miss the date?
Partners in Preparedness, you're talking about our emergency preparedness?
Yeah.
And we do have a...
You had the joint meeting on April 30th, correct? Do I have that wrong in my weekly?
Yes, I just hope I'm thinking of the right name, but we had a we had a meeting to discuss our emergency preparedness efforts.
Right.
And we briefly talked about our participation in a drill that will occur next week on Tuesday that our staff will participate in.
Would there be any need for any of the council members to be a part of it?
We are still working out the details of what our drill is going to entail. At this point, I don't foresee that, but we'll certainly let you know.
Okay, well, if you need anybody to fake like they're bloody and dying, let me know. And I just want to say thank you for your continued efforts. And for those of you who are not aware, there's a program that is through our police department here. Is it still Corporal Moore that is in charge of that?
Yes.
Okay. It's a CERT program, and that's a Community Emergency Response Team. Is that correct? And I just think it's a really great program. It costs a minimal amount of money. I think it's $15. It's a couple of hours on 2 weekends, but it helps you prepare if there's a disaster in your community, not only so you can help secure your family, but you can also help your neighbors. And I went through the program. I know Mr. Gross did also, and it's just a really good program. It doesn't hurt to have that under your belt, and once again, it's only a small amount of money and a little bit of your time. And then, Mayor, I'm just going to defer to you on the congratulations of our new officer.
Okay, great.
And then the last thing, Laurel Park, we just spent, what was the total amount we spent on Laurel Park? Was the new revised 180 or 180 right around there?
The construction's $189,000.
Okay, that's what I thought. Well, I wanted to commend staff on getting the lower bid, something that would help with our budget. But one of the things that residents have been bringing to my attention is the gopher problem. We know we have that, especially with our parks. And I don't know if this is something that's feasible, but I have done some research, and one of the things that you can do to help abate gophers, other than having staff go out and take time, is if you take tulip bulbs and you plant them facing down so they grow down into the earth about 6 inches down, about a foot apart. I hate to say this, but the gophers like them. They eat them, and it's not good for them. They end up passing away. And so I think that if we're going to spend that kind of money on redoing the park, and that was one of the problems in the beginning, I'd like to see us maybe do some research on this and see what it would cost and what it would cost in staff time. I just hate to see us invest all that money and then have the same problems that we had before. So we can maybe use Laurel Park as a test if the council should should agree to do that. And if we meet with positive results, maybe that's something we can incorporate into the monies that we have that will be a give back to the community, because almost everybody in the community enjoys the parks. And then the last thing, I just wanted to check on Orville Lewis basketball courts. I thought we had finished those, but I'm getting calls from residents over there saying, no, they're not looking good. So can we get an update on that?
I believe it's on the CIP list, isn't it, Dave?
Yes, the last project we did down there was putting the new fence in there, and we didn't have any money designated for the basketball court. It is going to be on the CIP list for this coming year for your approval at the council level.
Okay, well, I remember Tony Brandeberry saying that, I believe it was Tony, so if I'm wrong, don't quote me on that, but that there was going to be a covering that would get us through until that, because the courts are really bad. So if that's not the case, I'd like for us to go over and look at it and make sure that it's usable for the kids. And if we need to, that can be something that goes on the list too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that's all, Mayor.
Great, thank you. All right, so a couple things. Orange County Sanitation District Board and the Operations Committee, we're also doing what we're doing here in the city, is going through a lot of budget stuff, trying to get a budget closed there by June 30th. Attended a lot of events representing the city. Went to a Black April commemoration event at the Westminster War Memorial. Frank Fry, who is a city council member there, has been on the city council since 1966. And
I think it was 64.
Yeah, unbelievable guy. And so he does this every year to commemorate the fall of Saigon. And his deal is it's a fundraiser. So he's trying to get, and there must have been 1,000 people there for that. But again, if you ever have an opportunity to go to Westminster, check out that memorial. It's just really moving. And, Frank Fry was probably there. Well, he absolutely was there much prior to the Vietnamese coming into that community. And if there was somebody that was probably skeptical in the beginning, and he sat there and pointed up to the South Vietnamese flag and said, that flag needs to keep flying here, right by the Stars and Stripes. And it was just really moving to see that. And I would just encourage everybody to go down there. Had a really great opportunity today. This city council has taken on a residential and business improvement process to incentivize the community, our residents and our businesses, into their properties, and to try to motivate and encourage our local businesses to help them sell building materials to the folks that are doing this. So I had an opportunity today. I've been really working with Angie and Stephen, trying to find some good examples that we can really get publicized out there. And I wanted to thank the owners we have over in the Rossmore Highlands. The Anthony Gale and Michelle Haprov were there at their house. He is an architect, she is an artist, and we had Tom Barkley there from Ganal Lumber. And what we're really trying to do is to get to show an image of what this program means, to get it going, and make sure that we're incenting people to do. And so anybody that's over in the Rossmore Highlands, you'll see a house looking like it's just got a tremendous amount of construction going down. As an architect, Anthony has went through, and usually stuff's done by CAD and all that. He has done a complete layout by hand, old school, and you would not believe the design for this house. It's unbelievable. And what incentivized him was he went down to City Hall, started looking at pulling plans, and found out that he could save a tremendous amount of money by the program. So I just I wanted to put that out. We're also going to be visiting a business that's doing the same type of thing, and again, just really trying to push this, which is a great deal. The city council voted to spend about $200,000 in incenting the community by basically giving rebates for people that would start a project in our city, would pull permits, they would pay for the permits, but then they could be reimbursed by giving receipts that they bought the materials for that project at Ganal or any home improvement center within our city jurisdiction. So you have a tremendous opportunity to save a lot of money on that, and that goes for structures, for pools, home remodel, company or business remodel, all that. So again, just another great story. As Ken had mentioned, the Casa Youth Shelter celebrated its 35th anniversary, and we had the opportunity of commemorating that. And Ken, I just want to thank you for going to that. We have Lucianne Mulhart and Judy Clabeau and Emile George, the president and the past president of the board there, came up, and we got to celebrate this. And it's just, again, a great organization in our community, and a celebration of really what Mildred Jones had done and put in motion many years ago, and another opportunity to help serve the youth of our community by providing a safe home for what they call throwaway kids that don't have a place to go, and to provide them a safe place until we can either reunify them with their family or ensure that they're going to be put into a safe place to maintain and be brought up. Let's see. We also had a very important event yesterday within our city. Dean Gross is out there. And Dean, I wanted to thank you as part of the RMAC, or the Regional Military Affairs Committee. We had another fallen soldier that unfortunately died in Afghanistan. And I just want to say from the council, we give our deepest sympathy to Private First Class Christian Santacolas parents and family from Anaheim, and I just want to thank everybody in the community that made it out to the base, and the Freedom Riders. If everybody was by the base about 11:45 on Sunday, you would have seen what it felt like hundreds of motorcycles with flags taken off out of our base. And anybody that's interested in getting on the distribution, you got to be a little patient, because that time went from 11, 10:30 to 2 to 10:30 to 11 again. But, what is flexibility when it's something so important? Anybody interested, please contact Angie Avery, and she will get you on an email distribution so you can get out there and support our fallen soldiers when they come back.
Mayor, you might want to add to that.
Sure.
For those people who wanted to be involved with the soldiers, they're generally past soldiers with the motorcycles that do the escorts, you can look them up. They're called the Patriot Guard, and they're very good at notifying you of not only local events for this, but also throughout the county and the state.
Great, thank you. We also had the privilege this morning, seemed like this morning, about 4 o'clock this afternoon, before the budget meeting, of doing something that the city council just really loves to do. We got to pin a new police officer in our community. So again, on behalf of the city council, we want to welcome Zachary Sprague, or Officer Zachary Sprague, to our city, and his wife Stephanie. And we got another great one, Chief. If you want to inform the community just a little bit about Zachary, I'd really appreciate it.
Sure. Yes, we're very happy to bring Zachary onto our department. He's a brand new officer, just graduated from the academy, not last month, I think, but the month before that. He's from the San Diego area. He's a Marine, served in Iraq in 2009. And again, we think he's going to be a real asset to our department and the city.
Great. Yeah, and I'll also say, kind of behind the scenes, Chief and Captain McAlpine, definitely influential. We have kind of the inside track of the academy, and we have people on the inside. Thank you, Chief. But we get to see the ones that are coming up that we actually potentially want to make moves on. And this, and Zachary is very highly regarded, very highly recruited, and Chief, I think you guys did a great job, and another great officer's added, so thank you. With Laurel Park, something that Jerry had brought up, I guess, City Manager, something for our next council meeting. I just would like you to make an announcement. We have a kind of a rededication ceremony at Laurel Park before our next council meeting. If you could just make a little bit of a public service announcement on that.
We invite the community to join the council for Laurel Park reopening, and that is on Monday, June 4th at 5 o'clock. Everyone's invited to come out and share some refreshments, and we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony because the park has been in rehab for about 6 months. If you've driven by, it's beautiful, and it's going to reopen for all types of activity just in a short while. But that is right before the first council meeting in June. So that's Monday, June 4th at 5 o'clock.
Great. And Angie, we had talked about potentially the council members actually voted to get the park to be part of the city, potentially extending out the invitations. You guys do that, or are you planning on doing that? For the council that was here that actually voted in to take the park, because part of their commitment is they took a leap there, got the park, and they always said, hey, we're going to come back and fix it up. And so it's finally happened, and it took quite a while. And I was hoping we'd be able to have them there to kind of maybe pay tribute to them for doing that.
We'll be happy to invite those folks.
Great. One of the last items I have on the agenda is I'd like to agendize for a future meeting. I'd like to take a look at the options for St. Isidore. As we get ready to go forward, we've got a group of people that are out there in the community that are working like you can never believe to try and raise money to save one of the most historical buildings in our community. And, they've come in, they've talked to us, some of us have been active with them, but the key with that organization is, they don't want it for themselves. They're actually trying to get it to give it back to the city. So Cinco de Mayo, they had another event out there. It's complete dedication. These people, their hearts, they're not just from Los Al either. They're from all over Southern California, people that have been affected by that building. And we've done a lot. We've had meetings there when we celebrated our 50th. We've done a lot. I would like to see us have an agenda item from a staff perspective, technically, on taking a look at St. Isidore. It seems to be coming up in our general plan discussions. We're also hearing themes of a centralized meeting place. We're hearing Jerry talk about the downtown, and I think that that's a very important historical part. We're also getting ready to take a look at voting on a budget for June 30th. And regardless of whatever directions we go in the future, I think we got to have a conscious and cognizant discussion on what the council's perspective is on St. Isidore and what do we want to do through that. I also want to explore conflicts of interest to make sure that none of us are conflicted out for participating, just because I don't want to have the same problem I had with the downtown project, where that was a great idea too, and I appreciate you bringing that forward too. So, Angie, do you have any questions on that, or are we okay? Any questions on clarification?
No,
okay.
We're good.
Great. I think that's all I have. So with that, unless anybody... Oh, sorry, Marilyn. Go ahead.
Well, I just had a couple of meetings that I did attend, I think are important to discuss. Tuesday, May 1st, was our Westcom meeting. It was about the budget. Westcom is our dispatch. We belong to it with Cypress and Seal Beach. And I'm pleased to say that they did a great job. The city managers did a great job of putting a budget together that did have a recommendation of an increase to each one of the city's contribution. But there was enough of a reserve left over so that the vote by the board was to not take that increase and keep the level at last year's. So for our city, that saved us a little over $8,000 in this budget. So I think that was, our hats are off to the city managers and the staff at Westcom that came up with that budget. Thursday, May 3rd, I went to our the Orange County Library budget meeting. Everyone's doing budgets right now. And happy to say that the head librarian, Helen Freed, does a phenomenal job, she and her staff, in making sure that the libraries in Orange County are fully staffed, that they have as many hours as they are entitled to. There's a formula that has to do with your property tax, how many people visit the library, et cetera, et cetera. And so they were able to keep us with a balanced budget, and everyone will have the same hours and the same days as they had last year. There is still ongoing, it will be before the supervisors, a vote. Irvine as you all know, is a very large community, and they are what's called a donor city. They contribute far more, mega more than any other city into not only the fire authority, but into the library system. So their community is not completely built out, and they recognize the fact that when it is, and they are growing, they will need more libraries. So with some good minds and some a lot of work and effort within the group, they came up with a formula so that Irvine will continue to contribute the amount that they have contributed in the past, and if the property taxes come in higher and there's an excess amount, that will go into a fund just for them. And then eventually, as that fund grows, there will be enough money for them to build their libraries. So that's great. And as Troy said, Cinco de Mayo at St. Isidore yesterday was it's always so much fun. There's a lot of great food, good music, dancing, so on, and everyone just had a great time. You saw us give Marcy Sudak some plaques this evening, but Troy and I were able to go to the benefit last night, and we did talk about that a little bit. You talked about it quite a bit, actually. But I would just like to further say that program and the after-school program, many years ago, our school district was going to drop the after-school music program. They were going to drop the music program, period. And the youth center stepped up and said, we will take that over. It happens at the schools, but the registration, everything is done through the youth center. And Marcy Sudak has been instrumental in making that program so successful. And then it grew into the small symphony, and that has grown phenomenally in 10 years. So if any of you out there have a child or know of a child that has any interest in music, an instrument or whatever, please go to the youth center and talk to Marcy, because she will grab them up like you can't believe and just mother them, love them, and teach them. And she's just done such a phenomenal job. That was so much fun last night to go to that. And I also would like to congratulate Zachary Sprague for becoming a member of our family, and that's great. Being the last one, a lot of these things, I also wanted to congratulate the Tank Farm and tell them thank you so much for being in our community. Mm-hmm. We're happy to have you. We have some other new businesses. Kimberly Grant of the Violina Syndicate has received a business license. We've got a security guard service company that is coming into global security services coming into the community. We've got John Shattuck of Trench 2 Trail Gear Shop that will be coming into our community. Well, let's see, Heather Valentino, psychotherapy sessions is coming into the community. This one I know we're all excited about. The owners of Preveza, just such a great restaurant in our community, have applied for outside dining, and I can't wait. And again, the Tank Farm. I also wanted to ask about the Partners in Preparedness meeting. In the bulletin, it says that the Neighbor for Neighbor was involved in that. Jerry and I have talked about bringing that program to the different neighborhoods, and so I'm anxious to get that going, and so if you could give us some direction on where we can go. I know they've done it in part of the Highlands, but Carrier Row is a huge part of our community, and they love this kind of thing, and I think it's really, really important. And we'd like to go to Greenbrook with, all of the different residential areas. So if we can get that going, I think that'd be really good.
certainly. And both Wink Chase and Patty Laird did attend that meeting, along with other members of the community. And we have had those discussions with them that there are other neighborhoods that are eager to get in that, and we'll continue to reinforce that.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I think that's enough. All right.
Mayor, can I ask?
please.
Marilyn, do you know if the group that does the orchestra, if they, back when Gage was part of it in elementary school, there were children who couldn't afford the instruments. And so do you know if they take donations of instruments? Because I'm sure that there are lots of people in the community who either had children or played themselves and no longer do and might be willing to donate those instruments to the program.
I don't know positively. I have heard of a little bit of that.
That's what I
But anyone, if anyone in the community has an instrument,
You're right.
just contact the youth center. They'll be able to tell you.
Perfect.
And for anyone we will announce that the director of the youth center, Lena, had her baby Friday.
Oh,
So,
yay.
congratulations, Lena. Little boy, Daniel. Okay.
Great. You know what? I actually I have one rather really quick one. You know, the chamber does these ribbon cuttings, and there is another ribbon cutting coming up on Wednesday. The Orange County Breeze newspaper on May 9th at 10 a.m. I would encourage everybody out in the community. I know I'll try and get out there too. But they're at 10 a.m. over with Shelley Henderson at the Orange County Breeze newspaper, and then at 10:30, the Kitchen and Bath Design, 3357 Catella. Anybody that's interested in coming to these for the chamber, they also post these on the website, so if anybody's interested. But again, congratulations on that, Shelley, and look forward to community support on that.
And can we also, we have in the audience with Shelley is Guy Cariglio, who is back with us. He left us for about 9 months, and he's back and working with Shelley, so welcome back.
Yeah. The other item that I want to also say is very specifically congratulations to Gage Mejia, who again won first in the long jump, and he's going into CIF prelims. I have a son that's Gage's age and a bunch of friends, and Jared is also very envious that Gage is doing such a good, in a positive way. He was very glad for him, and so we'd heard about that. So again, congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Okay, that's all I have tonight, and if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead. City Manager, did you have anything?
I just have one thing to mention, and I'd like to turn it over to Stephen to have him tell the community, inform the community about the neighborhood cleanup day that's coming up.
Awesome.
Well, this is limited to the this coming Saturday. The staff will be hosting, along with Consolidated Disposal, 3 very large trash bins in the Old Town East neighborhood. Old Town East neighborhood residents will have the opportunity to bring all their large things, from that very unused treadmill to that large play school type toy equipment that sits in your backyard and gets weathered, down their alley into these trash bins. At no cost to the residents, completely sponsored by Consolidated Disposal in the city of Los Alamitos. I'll be hosting one, and our community development department planner will host the other one to make sure that the wrong things don't go in the bins. And we will also have one bin for e-waste, electronic waste, so they'll be able to fit most of their needs that day. What we're hoping is that all the residents and property owners take advantage of that area to clean out their garage and kind of give it a spring cleaning.
Okay, good.
Could I ask, do we know when the other areas in the community will be?
Our goal is to hit Old Town West within about 3 to 4 weeks after this one. We want to get the bugs out with the first event, iron it out, and then we're headed to Old Town West, and then we're headed to Apartment Row. But we think we'll divide Apartment Row into 2 different dates.
At least.
Okay. One other thing, so Jerry, you brought up that you wanted to have an item brought to the agenda to kind of do some clarification for Warren's issue. What specifically are you trying to do with that?
What I'd like to see is, I think it's wonderful that the council was nice enough to say we're going to move on from this, but the remaining statements in the newspaper and amongst the community with regards to the Brown Act violation have not been solved. I mean, there's been no clarification as to whether or not Warren was guilty of the Brown Act or found innocent. And my feeling is, and that's why I'm pushing for this, is that there have been enough people who have weighed in on this that have said, that are experts on this, that there was no Brown Act violation. I would like to see there's closure for Mr. Kuzumoto, and not only that, but for his name to be cleared with regards to this issue. So since we've spent $5,000 on an attorney to do that, I would imagine he's at least come to some kind of preliminary or final decision as to whether or not it was a Brown Act violation or it was not. And I would like that to be brought back for the council to review and then move forward with if we need to.
So just theoretical steps, because I'm a little bit, I'm not sure how we would do that. I hear clarification of Warren for what's going on with the Brown Act, but I also am just trying to figure out, is there any sort of a closed session issue? If are we looking to potentially issue some sort of a note to this to say, hey, are we looking for working papers for this item? I guess I'm trying to figure out what would be if the end objective was the clarification, yes, no. I think that's as Warren put it. What is the path to that?
I suppose the first step is to ask the civil prosecutor that the city hired whether he has any memorandum or other documents indicating what his conclusions were. And if he does, those would of course be confidential work product, but they could be communicated to the 4 city council members who were eligible to participate in that. I don't know if he has those materials or if they're in a form suitable for circulation, but we can ask.
Well, Mayor, if I may, we paid that gentleman $5,000. I would like to have a decision from him whether or not it was a Brown Act violation or not. And I don't think that that is unreasonable for us to do.
Okay, so let me ask the question, again, theoretically, because it is what it is. Let's just go down the paths, because I just want to know potential outcome at the end.
Right.
The potential outcome is this city prosecutor says guilty, Brown Act. We've already, as a council, made a decision to move past it.
Right.
So what good does that do?
I think that it clears his name, because moving forward, we know how this community can be. If Warren should want to run for council again, and I'm not saying he is or he isn't, this is something that could be used to slander him even further. And I just think that we owe it to him as co-council members to have this vetted out one way or the other. We've already decided to move past it, but if he's innocent, I think that absolutely should be discussed and brought to the public's knowledge.
So do you want a technical evaluation legally whether he's innocent, or do you want the council in the end to say it was no issue?
If he's innocent, as I believe he is.
Because a legal representation would come to the council, and the council would vote whether we accept the assessment or not. That's how it happens. But I think the end state's the council, not the legal evaluation. And if the end state is that we need to go towards trying to clear his name, I think that's what we tried to do before.
Well, there were council members who said they still think that there was a Brown Act violation committed. So what I'm saying is, let's get an answer legally, one way or the other. We've still moved beyond it, but like I said, I believe that he did not commit a Brown Act violation. I'm not an expert. I think that for the $5,000 we spent, that's the very least we could get from the gentleman.
But if we get an answer that's contrary to what the council is trying to do, do we care about that legal evaluation?
I don't think we take it beyond that point, but if we have an opportunity to clear his name, I think we should do so.
Okay. Okay, so city attorney, help me decide what would be the next steps to do that process. It sounds like we end up in a closed session to evaluate what the civil prosecutor said, and then from there we have some sort of recommendation we bring out here. I mean, what would be the path to vindication?
I have to do some thinking and analysis about whether there is a grounds for a closed session.
Okay.
If you're no longer contemplating initiating action, then that wouldn't be available as a closed session exemption under the Brown Act, which is where you were the last time you went into closed session and discussed it. But But I think the first step is to communicate whatever information there is from your civil prosecutor. That can be done confidentially, just as a distribution to the 4 members. And then maybe we can, city manager and I can do some brainstorming about how we would proceed from there.
Perfect.
Okay.
Is that okay?
So let's go ahead and do that. All right, that's all I have. At this point, we're going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting to the next city council meeting and our closed session. I thought we were out of here. Darn it.
Dang it.
So we're going to go to closed session and we'll come back.